Hello and welcome to my latest Canva tips and tricks video. Today I'm going to be talking about balance and composition when designing your images for your social media posts. So deciding on a layout can be really time consuming, and you probably find that you spend hours moving elements around the page and you're never really sure actually if it looks any better. So the best thing to do is to start with a clear plan about what it is you're trying to say and what it is you're going to post. So are you going to lead with an image? Is it going to be text, or is it a testimonial post? First things, if you're creating a testimonial post, is to think about how long that testimonial is. What you don't want to do is try and squeeze a really long testimonial into too small a space. The best thing to do is to either shorten the testimonial to a key short sentence, or if you're posting obviously something in Instagram, you could create a carousel and spread that testimonial across 2 or 3 squares. That way your image will look a lot cleaner, and also the message in the testimonial is not going to get lost. Testimonials generally look a lot better when the text isn't too small. You want something that's a reasonable size that can be skim read easily, and it's got a bit of a maybe interesting texture behind it, maybe an interesting little graphic in the background, but nothing too overpowering, but just something to give it a bit more interest maybe than just a flat colour. What you may find when you're designing, if it's starting to look a bit squashed, is just try it out, pushing that testimonial and lengthening the phrase across 2 or 3 posts. And I think you'll find that actually visually it will stand out a lot more, and it will just make the whole design a lot more interesting. Image-led posts are really good. But what you don't want to fall in the trap of doing is just getting your logo and plonking that on top of a stock image and sort of thinking, that's enough. If you're using stock images, what you really need to make sure is that you brand them for your business. Obviously, because stock images can be used so many times by so many different types of businesses, what you want to try and do is to make it look different and original. One of the tricks I do for my clients is to add some graphic shapes over the top of the image, or some graphic textures. And these can be quite simple, they're not overcomplicated, but what they can then be used for is to put the logo in. It could be used for a very short sentence or a headline, but that just makes the stock image itself look a little bit more interesting and a little bit different perhaps from seeing someone else's post that might be using that same image. Your image could also sit within a shape itself. So, perhaps try sitting the image within a really nice circle shape, a triangle, a rectangle, that could be kind of bleeding off a couple of the sides of the square. This would just make it look a little bit more interesting rather than just using the whole square and holding the image within that whole square of a social media post. Also think maybe about the background that maybe that image might sit on. What you don't want to do is have anything that's too complicated, too busy, because you want something that complements the image. The image is the main focus of your post at the end of the day, so what you want to do is to make sure that the background colour or the texture complements the image. It doesn't fight with it. The image shouldn't be overshadowed by too much copy or too busy a background. If you're creating a post around a statement or a fact, then think about less is more. Again, allow room around your text, a bit like the testimonial posts. You don't want to squeeze too much copy into too small a space. People shouldn't have to struggle to read your post. If you think about how people are consuming the social medias, they're scrolling, and what they need to be able to do is to capture what it is that you're trying to say in 3 to 5 seconds. If they have to pause and really read your message to get what you're trying to say across, then there's too much text in that small square. The copy should be in the main body of the post rather than the image itself. Keep the image nice and clean. Think about nice large margins around the text. Give it space to breathe. You know, don't be scared of empty space within your designs. Another thing to think about is possibly text hierarchy. So if you've got the main message, the core message of what you're trying to say, make that bolder or bigger, and then perhaps have the other copy in, say, a lighter or smaller font size. And that will really give a bit more interest to the layout, but it will also make sure that your message is being captured and is standing out the most, so people aren't going to miss what it is that you're trying to say in your post. So a general rule for all of your designs is less is more. You know, if you're squeezing too much onto a too small a square, it's just going to look messy, and it's not going to have the impact that I think you're wanting to get from your designs. So hopefully that's been of help. If obviously you've got any questions, then please do pop them in the comments below, and thanks for watching.